Welcome to the London Youth Express. I am Renata Leufen. We are currently looking at the renewal of our education system, and we have already looked a bit into the new, humane and modern curriculum that we need. And within this context, we are currently looking at the appropriate contents for a new, humane and modern curriculum. And we are looking at topics which this new curriculum should include. And one of those topics is the topic of death and how to die. What happens when we die? What happens when we step out of this body? What happens after we have left our dead body? This is what young people want to know, and we got to provide an answer to this very important question. And we can no longer put death and how to die into some corner and treat these most important subject as something that is not really relevant. It is not enough and it is not good enough to just tell our young people, well, one day you are going to die, and we all die, and then we go somewhere and we believe it's going to be a nice place. This is not really sufficient, and this is not really what we should do. Death is an important subject area that must be taught in all institutions of education around the world and in all home schools. And it is so important to also teach how to die. What happens, for example, if there's a young person and he or she is on the verge of dying in a car crash and just spending the last moments on this planet and tortured by the idea that he or she may go to a place called hell and be condemned and lost forever. This is not really helpful in helping people to die and to enter the new world, the new realm that is there after we have died. We don't obviously have all the answers to the question, what is death and what happens after death and how should we die? But it is time, if we really want to modernize and humanize our society and create a world which is a good and positive and happy environment for all people, if we want to create a world of justice and of peace, a world of harmony, then we have to include death and how to die into our curriculum. There is no way around it. And I remember when I came home on the 8th of June 2011 from my morning swim, and I found my son Danny dead in his bed. He had died in his sleep, and I couldn't just get what happened. And his legs were blue and his body didn't move, and I spoke to him and I thought, can I revive him? Can a doctor revive him? Can I resurrect him? And where is he now? And I was simply shocked, and I was overwhelmed, and I couldn't accept what had happened. It was so traumatic. It was something that was totally unexpected. And then I remember when I had my dead son in his coffin for 2 days before the burial in our house, and I looked at him there in the coffin, and his lips they turned black, and I just looked at this body and I couldn't accept that he was no longer there. And then the burial, and since the burial I meet so many traumatized and unhappy and suffering people on the cemetery whenever I go there. There's a mother whose 2 twin girls died in a car accident, and another lady whose mother died, and they're all so unhappy. And everyone on the cemetery wonders what happens after death. So it is not a topic that we should put somewhere into a corner, and it is not enough to just say, well, one day we all die and then we believe we go to a nice place. This is not really satisfactory, because death is such a major event in the lives of the people who die, and also obviously in the lives of the people who are still remaining on this planet, and who have then to bury the dead person, live with the memories of the dead person, and to wonder every day what has happened to them. We got to understand what death is, and we got to ask questions. For example, if someone decides to rob a bank or to kill someone, is this perhaps the moment when this person dies spiritually? Or for example, if someone makes the decision to believe in a God of true love who created and reigns this entire universe, is this perhaps a moment when this person enters real life? And we could also ask if we, as we are, if we are really alive, the way we live, the way we think, concerning the ambitions we have, what we want to do with our lives. Death and how to die is one of the most important topics of humanity, and we got to teach about it in every institution of education, every homeschool, everywhere around the world. No one should be in distress and feel in a state of really total helplessness when they die. And no one should be scared to die. No one should be scared of death. And no one should suffer so incredibly like I witness it every week because they lost a loved one. We got to eliminate human suffering and human pain everywhere. And we can do this. And we can change our view about death and how to die. We can change our view about the reality of life. And we can create peace on this earth. And it is so fundamental to consider and understand as much as we can what death is, and how to die, and what happens after we die. I believe that we continue to live after we died, And I believe that the moment of death is actually nothing to be afraid of, but that it is a very complex issue, and that we got to start thinking about it, so that when someone dies or when we die, that we are not simply caught by surprise and caught up in distress and in turmoil. I remember when my mother died, I dreamt I saw her, and she was coming from this direction with my aunt, who supported her towards me, all dressed in black with a black hat, and she was walking towards me. And as she walked towards me, I felt this regret that she felt. It was a regret of such intensity that I cannot describe it with words. She was sorry, and she was surprised to see me, and she regretted, and she felt such intense pain, and I felt it. And then she walked on this side past me into another direction, and as she walked behind me, I continued to move forward. So there is the possibility that people will experience an undescribable regret, a state of regret, intense regret at the moment of death, and even moments after they died. We got to look more into what death is, what happens when we die, and we got to look more into how to die. And everything I do and teach is based on, as I perceive it, the truth of eternal life, that we are eternal beings with an eternal destiny, that we will live throughout all eternity, or even all eternities and all eternities of all eternities. We have a life that will never end. This is my conviction. And if we adopt this truth that we are eternal beings, and if we adopt the approach that death is only the door to the other world that lies beyond, and if we adopt the idea that we will be creative and active in this other world, in this new world, then we are moving into the right direction. And if we also teach this to our children, I think it is irresponsible to teach young people that when people die, they either go to hell or they go to heaven. It could be true, I don't deny it. I'm looking into these matters at the moment, and it is a very complex and difficult matter, and obviously it takes time, it takes revelation to become clearer and clearer on what the truth really is. But I find it is simply irresponsible to create such enormous fear in our young people. Because the question, if you teach that people go either to a place called hell, which is evil, or a place which is called heaven, which is beautiful and nice, the question is, why don't all people go to heaven? And another question would be the whole issue of psychological and emotional development. What happens to the young man whose parents deserted him at birth? What happens to the young man whose parents abused him, who hit him, who told him he would never amount to anything? And what happens to this traumatized young man after he dies, when during his lifetime he was unable, due to the traumas that were inflicted upon him during his childhood, and he was never able to find a stable employment, and he met some people and he became a criminal, and he was unhappy throughout his whole life, and he experienced hell every day while he was on earth. What happens to such a person after they die? Who is responsible for his broken and destroyed life on this planet? His parents, society, he himself, God himself, who permitted everything to happen like it happened? So it's not as easy as we think to just say, okay, the good people or the people who serve God, they go to heaven, and the bad people or the people who are not Christians or who are not Muslims or who are not Jews, they go to a place called hell. I mean, that is unacceptable. This is too easy, and this does not really harmonize with the truth as it is. And we got to really start thinking about life and death, what life means and what death means, and how to die. Everyone who dies should die in a state of peace, in a state of relief. Death should not be torment for anyone on this planet. Now, you may object, there were very bad people who did very, very bad things to other people. And of course, this is so, and no one denies it. And you may say, okay, they must be punished after they leave this planet. And I don't say that they will not be punished in a certain way, that there will not happen something. But we got to believe, and this is my position, in the fundamental principle, truth and reality of love. We got to believe because this love and this person, the Creator God, however you call him, is love, that there is hope even for people after they died, that there is relief and mercy for all people, for everyone, even after they died. I do not believe in a God who condemns or punishes for all eternity. I do not believe in a God who closes his heart to any individual, no matter what they did while they were on this planet. I do believe in justice on this earth and throughout all eternity, but I do believe that we do not set up our lives for all eternity through this short experience that we have here on this planet. And you may agree or not agree. So you see, it is so important to discuss all these things. It is so important that we teach in our institutions of education what death is and how to die, and that we teach the reality, the truth, that we are eternal beings and that we shall live forever. We shall live forever, and I don't understand why we die, and we don't all have the same view on death and on what happens after we die. But as a humanity, we must teach our children about death and about how to die and what happens after we die. We must raise a new generation that has peace, being alive on this planet, a new generation that has peace when they die, a new generation that goes with confidence and with a positive attitude into this still unexplored world which lies beyond our planet Earth and which will be our home for all eternity, or even all eternities of all eternity.